Live chat's on. If you're not subscribed, you can't live chat, so why don't you subscribe? Then you can live chat up here as we go along. Well, there you go. Morning today, new morning, raining or very damp today. Well, that's what it is, Chatterbox. Bit of singing, bit of Bible, bit of poetry, bit of this and that. Just a nice way to start the day. Now in the night, as I was praying, I saw a colour in prayer I'd never seen before, which was deep, a deep red, so deep. It was just incredibly beautiful. And I think I'm in that kind of mood this morning, in just singing. Oh love, that will not let me go. I rest my weary soul in thee. I give thee back. I give thee back. Old words, but they're very deep red. Love that will not let me go. I rest my weary soul on thee, and I give thee back the life I owe, that in thine ocean depths its flow may richer, deeper. Very deep red, isn't it? I want my life to be richer, fuller. And only in his flow can that happen. And sometimes his flow is brightly coloured water and, bubbling brooks and things and blue skies, and sometimes he's very deep. Reminds you that our lives sort of bubble along, but there's a very, very deep foundation here, underlaying creation. And because we know the Lord, our roots are in that depth. It brings a security. Oh love, that will not let me go. I rest my weary soul. I give thee back the life I owe, that in thine ocean depths its flow may richer, fuller be. I feel that this morning. Putin, or to Al-Qaeda, or to the White House. Come on, David. Power belongs to the Lord. Power belongs to the Lord. And those two songs go together because there's the power is in the love, not in the aggression or the dominance or the abilities, in the love. Love that will not let me go. I rest my weary soul on thee. I give you back the life I own. That in thine ocean depths its flow may richer be. Morning, Emma. Morning, Alan. This worship this morning is coming from something that happened in the night to me when I saw in the heavenly places a deep, deep red that I've never seen before, extremely deep, and it took me down to very deep places, and these songs are coming from there this morning, and I feel it. Oh, love that will not let me go. I rest my weary soul on thee, and I give you back the life I own, that in its ocean depths its flow may richer, purer. I can see that red even as I sing. Beautiful, so beautiful is the Lord. I never tire of singing of his beauty. Beautiful is the Lord. And I am beautiful too. In his presence we are beautiful. Inside we are beautiful. But in the presence, in worship, we become what we're meant to be, beautiful. Beautiful. And I can see you, those who are watching, who are following, are shining with this deep red depth of the Lord. Isn't that lovely, don't you think? Lovely way to start the day, isn't it? And you know, I love the all the dancing and stuff, but I need more than that. I need to go to the places of worship, and I need to be told what the Lord is saying and what the Lord is showing, and I want to be beautiful. This morning we're going to look at Elizabeth. It's very interesting. I traced my Christian life back to my baptism 6 weeks after I was born, and I believe this is what happened. I've believed it all my life. During that ceremony, somebody somebody in that little congregation had faith. Morning, Sandra. Had faith in me. And claimed me. Said something like, let this little child know you, Lord. I don't know what they said, but that's where my faith began. And I can reach back that far. So as I'm 74, that's 73 and 3/4 years of walking with him. I wondered, I used to wonder, where does that come in the Bible? How does that work out? And then I came upon Elizabeth. And the story, you know it, but let me just remind you that Elizabeth and Zachariah were elderly, past childbearing years, and without children, which was a great sadness for them. One day, Zachariah was given a very special job. He was to go into the Holy of Holies, the inner place of the temple, and burn incense. I mean, that was pretty special because no one went in there except this once a year, and he was to go in and do it. And he was, it was kind of a big thing, that. And when he got in there in the Holy of Holies, obviously, he's never been in there. He's wondering, he knows what's there, but he's actually there. That's the difference, isn't it? He's actually there. And there's an angel, Gabriel, standing by the altar. And I'm sure that was a bit of an impact on him. And Gabriel said, Zachariah, I've got some great news for you. Your prayers have been answered. Your prayers for a child have been answered, and your wife Elizabeth will bear a son. At this point, Zachariah throws his hat on the floor and stamps on it. It's impossible. That's impossible. We'll look at perhaps Mary tomorrow. Her reaction was the same, but totally different. She had a different heart. His heart was hardened towards God fulfilling his promises. That's why there was no child. Because Zachariah didn't really believe for it. He didn't believe that God could do this because they were past childbearing years. So he was praying without belief. It doesn't go down well upstairs. And so when Gabriel says, great news, Zach, your prayers have been answered, you're going to have your child, he throws his toys out the pram. He really is quite rude. And Gabriel's annoyed at that. And he said, that's no way to treat God's word, my son. And so here we are. You'll be dumb and never say another word until this comes to pass. And that's what happened. So he came out of the temple. He couldn't say anything, but he made a few gestures, and people were aware that something very special had happened. That's all we know until, in verse 24, it's Luke 2, after this, his wife Elizabeth became pregnant and for 5 months remained in seclusion. The Lord has done this for me, she said. Now, bear that in mind. Right? So, life goes on, and the baby is born, and then comes the naming ceremony, which in Ghana is very important, much more important, I think, than the West. It's quite a performance in Ghana. You don't get your name for weeks. It's an important moment. I mean, our names are important in the West, but we don't make a big thing of it. But Africa does, and so did Israel. So, when the time came for Elizabeth to have a baby, she gave birth to a son. Of course she did, because that's what Gabriel said would happen. Her neighbours and relatives heard that the Lord had shown her great mercy, and they shared her joy. Right, got that. Booze up, I suspect, or a big party. Well, that's what we do in Ghana anyway. Always any excuse for a party. On the 8th day, they came to circumcise the child, and they were going to name him after his father Zachariah. Again, that's very African. It's not so English now, but it used to be. You used to always have my grandfather's name, but these days that doesn't seem to happen anymore. So they were going to call him Zachariah. Okay, fine. Lovely name. But his mother spoke up and said, no, his name is John. Now what's going on here? What's going on here is this. Zachariah came out of the temple, and I guess by signs and perhaps writing, who knows, he managed to communicate what happened, and Elizabeth believed it. See, straight off, she believed for this. She was as childless as he was. She was way past childbearing as he was, but unlike him, she believed it. And that's what we see here, bursting out her faith. Zachariah came out of the temple and told me what had happened, and I believed it. So I've been carrying John these last X months, and now here he is. And I believe that God said we would have a son. I believe this is the son, and this son is called John. That's that her inner faith burst out there. Her inner conviction burst out there. She, when she figured out what happened to Zechariah, unlike him, she believed. And as a result of that, John was born, and she gets a chance. Women don't get much of a chance in the Bible, but here we are, standing before the bar of the world, a woman, who knows how old, but if past childbearing, you can figure that out for yourself. A woman, not the husband, not the elder brother, or anything like that, but a woman, a mere woman, proclaims that faith has brought this child into life. And my word, like Hannah, she marked John's life with that faith. We said yesterday, Hannah marked Samuel. His character was formed by her commitment. Same with John. Elizabeth, was pretty uncompromising. She spoke up and she said, no, in the presence of all the elders and all the family and everything, in my experience in Africa, women don't do that. Not when all the elders are gathered and the pastors and all the men. They don't do that. But she stands up, bangs the table and says, listen here, you guys, I want to tell you something, and listen carefully. I'm only saying it once. His name is John, right? His name is John, right? That's the end. Right? On we go. You can call him John, Zachariah, Wilhelmina, Bagpuss, what you like, but his name is John. Her faith blazes out, uncompromising. That's John, wasn't it? John was in his mother's image. Remember when the Pharisees came, he called them, you brood of vipers. Not a man for diplomacy, John, but then prophets never are. Her faith was what did it, not Zachariah's. He proved to be a dud. It was somebody's faith at my baptism that has produced a prophet who's travelled the world for 30 years, prophesied in 60 or 70 nations, written about prophecy, and now is writing about revival, teaching it and speaking it, and has had a teeny-weeny impact on the world, which never would have happened if someone hadn't claimed me for Christ when I was no more than an inarticulate infant. And Elizabeth's the same. And I think probably that person that claimed me was a very uncompromising person, because that's my nature. Black and white, me. That's a prophet's nature. We don't know any in between. Well, why we bother? God says it, that's it, end of story, next. I think that person must have been that kind of person, because that's what's created me. I am not created in the image of my parents at all. This character came from somebody who claimed me for Christ, and within that ceremony, God did it. Elizabeth the same. Now the point is this, that I think today, we have to claim the promises of God, sometimes for others, because they can't claim it for themselves. Many, many times in the history of faith this has happened. A man or woman of faith has acted on an impulse of the Spirit towards somebody else, and eventually they've come to Christ. It's happening all the time. The trouble is, we tend to have lost sight of it. I'm sure most Christian mothers have claimed their children for Christ, but there's a lot more to it than that. When we see people in the school, a child, we've claimed one or two of our children in our school for Christ. Well, we claim them all, of course, but there's one or two that are special, and we've claimed that they will eventually grow into that. And in 20 or so years, when they're older, one or two of them will be exercising ministry, and they'll be made in my character, mine and Mary's character. Prophet and apostle welded together, that'll be their character. I believe that. I spotted them, and Mary spotted them, and we've claimed them. They will come one day. They will reach whatever it is God has for them, and they'll owe it to us, because we saw and believed for them. And it's very important that we do this. That the Lord will bring past our eyes certain people, and the Spirit will register in us, claim that one. And be an Elizabeth, claim them, and they will eventually become, perhaps not John the Baptist, but they'll become God's man or woman, the one that God wanted them to be. It's a wonderful thing about the Lord. It's a partnership between him and us. He could have just dropped down to Elizabeth and said, "You're going to have a child, John, here it is, bang," couldn't he? But it doesn't work like that. He wants to work in a partnership with us. So Zechariah had the chance to be a partner, screwed it up. Elizabeth had the chance to be a partner, accepted it. We're in partnership with him. He's not going to appear and just point everybody out and say, you're going to be Christians. We have a part to play. Bring somebody past us. We don't claim them. Maybe a great gift is lost for the Lord. I spend my day looking for people to claim for him. I don't claim them all. I wait till the Spirit registers in me. Then I claim them. I'm claiming a couple at the moment. I'm not going to say who they are because it's in the news and it wouldn't be appropriate. But I'm very much doing that. And I expect in the next 20 years something to happen with that couple or maybe the mother. And it's what we're here for. We're God's doorways. And we call people through. The trouble is, people think I have to be the big evangelist to do it. No, not at all. So let's do it. And if you have any doubts, think I'm not going to do that, well, look at me. Morning, Abigail. Sorry, morning, Paul. Didn't see you there. Look at me. My ministry is solely because one person claimed me at my baptism. I was watching a child in Ukraine, lost and hopeless and everything, and I was very sad about it. And then I realised that the only thing for that child was for the Lord to put his hand around it and then care for it. And then I began to think, that's what mummies do. That's exactly what mummies do. They put their hand around their children so their children can grow safely and beautifully. And I wrote this. Just came to me. This morning's poem. It's from the child's point of view. She looks up to a sky too big for her to understand. Mummy's hand is safer, and she knows what it means. A fence around her unfenced innocence, a love passionate and eternal. Safe days of exploring and nights secure, knowing that another is watching. Shielded as yet from the harshness of life, she reaches for her mother's love and makes it hers. Isn't that lovely, isn't it? That child, I saw that child hopeless and oh dear. And then I realised because it was lacking its mother's protection. And I think looking beyond that, I saw that the Lord could be the mother to that child, to reaching down and protect it so it could grow, so it could play, so the child could play and learn childish things and learn to grow as a child and, make fortresses out of stones and stuff and play with leaves and sticks and stamp in puddles and grow as a child into adulthood, when then the child would have to learn for itself how to cope with the vagaries of life. And then I thought, you know what, I could do with that myself today. I really could, and I think I'll get it. She looks up to a sky too big for her to understand. Mummy's hand is safer, and she knows what it means. A fence around her unfenced innocence, a love passionate and eternal. Safe days of exploration and nights secure, knowing that another is watching. Shielded as yet from the harshness of life, she reaches for her mother's love and makes it hers. And me today, I'm going to reach for my Father's love, make it mine. And then I'll be secure and I can face the day. Isn't that nice? I'm not an adult at all. I never want to be one. I'm still a child, and that's where I want to stay. And that's what the foundation of my faith is, that Daddy will care for me, even though I perhaps aren't worth caring for sometimes. Doesn't matter. Daddy will care for me. Maybe, you know, it's quite helpful being a poet, isn't it? I was reading today about this terrible story in the UK of a young boy, he's 12, I think. A mother found him in a coma in his room, and the medical profession are declaring with compassion that he's brainstem dead. And his mother's doing all that mothers do to stop them turning off the life support. It's hell on earth, this situation, for the mother and the medical and the legal and the whole thing. Everybody, you know, is desperately sad, disappointed. There are times when, with great regret, we have to let the law dictate what we do, or we can never do anything. But I mean, I'm with the mother. That's the trouble. And yet, having lost a son, I know that the pain of seeing this child in agony, in this brain dead state, she will finally discover is worse than him dying. Because Philip could have gone into an oxygen tent, you know, when he was born, and the doctor told me he didn't, but he would have been blind. The pure oxygen would have blinded him all his life, blind. I don't know, sometimes, you know. And this is terrible. But the point of this is, he got into this state following an internet craze called blackout, whereby you go online with your friends and then you put a scarf around your neck and you pull it tight till you faint, as it were, till you stop breathing, and they all watch and see how brave you are, and one just despairs of the world itself. And this child will die, sadly, and with great grief for all of us. I don't think anyone in the world reading this is happy about the situation, this agony, because this particular fad swept the internet, and the internet providers are doing what they always do, which is nothing. And so this child will die. And I don't know why I tell you that this morning. I suppose it's on my mind. It's the agony of the mother. You can read it. I mean, she just goes, oh no, I'm not going to let them turn off the life support of my child. You know, you understand that, don't you? Also, the doctors are saying that we've got a corpse here. We're just keeping it alive with our machinery. You know, what a mess. It's terrible. And I'm praying that somehow the Lord will bring good out of it. Maybe she'll start a campaign, you know, like Sarah's law did, to get the guns taken out of circulation, make some value from this. But it is just an agony, isn't it? And this is this is unbridled free speech, is where it brings us. And well, anyway, I don't know, I'm just prattling. It's Chatterbox after all, but I guess we just got to pray and think about the mother. Think about no one's happy. You know, even the judges are saying this is terrible. How do I ever go? Did I say good morning? This is terrible all round. Sometimes life can be difficult, but I'm praying that out of this situation something good will come. That the Lord is able to turn around the worst situations and make them special, and that somehow the publicity that she's got, somehow she'll be able to use it. You know, Sarah's law took the guns out of circulation. Maybe she can do something to, I don't know what can be done. Well, the internet providers deny all responsibility. Oh, we just put the site up. Yeah, sure. You're not human as well. You've not got children, family. Don't you worry. You know, until something's done there. Anyway, just it's something's on my mind today. So we'll watch it and what happens. The life support will be turned off today. That's what it's saying. Life, isn't it? Sometimes. Well, here we are. At 10 to 8. Nice to prattle on with you this morning. I see there are 8 of us today, and that's nice. And there are others that are watching that I don't know about, and so it's nice to chat away, sing. This morning I was in a very sombre mood today. Well, the Lord makes me for you, so that's all that we got today. Today, don't forget, in a minute it's Facebook with the Facebook family, and then at 16:30 it's pop-up prayer with Mary. That's just on Facebook. Tonight, 2000 hours BST here on YouTube. It's the next of our Growing On series, and I'm teaching on the Holy Spirit tonight. 8 o'clock, 2000 hours BST. It'll be on YouTube. It'll also be audio for Africa. So that's today. This is the day the Lord has made. This is the only one we're going to get. So let's enjoy it. God bless. So YouTube, you can stay on. If you're on YouTube and you're not part of our family, stay on and enjoy it. The rest switch to Facebook. Don't forget to subscribe, because if you don't subscribe, I can't see you coming up here to chat with me. Thanks everybody. And now, let us move on to another piece of technology. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing? And another poem. What have we got here? Oh, here we go. Yep, there we go. I've been playing Faith more